Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. And this is part B, numero two, numero dos, something like that, John. This is part two, the continuation of the episode that we did with John Wetmore out of Atlanta. And we had a phenomenal first session, and we ran out of time. The story was so good, John. We ran out of time, but we're jumping back in to talk about these 7 principles to scale your business. Welcome back to the Life Insurance Academy podcast, John Wetmore.
Appreciate it, brother. Happy to be back. I enjoyed it. I could do this more.
I know, man. Well, for those of you that didn't catch the last episode and you're insistent on listening to this one before you go back and do the previous one, you're going to be out of sync, out of sequence. So you got to run back. John Wetmore, by way of bio and just a little credibility statement, been in the business since first got shown the plan in 2008, started dialing in 2008, made his first appointment in 2010, got rolling really in 2013, scaled it up, and this month is going to have about 1,500 writing agents and is pacing at about $100 million in annualized premium for the year. Did I get all those numbers correct?
You did. I didn't. I started in, I got licensed in 10, started dialing and really dialing. I dialed once in 2010, but I really started in 2012, mid 2012.
Okay, 2012. It wasn't 2008. Did I have those numbers wrong?
I first looked at it then. So
okay.
I looked at it in 08. I actually got my license in 2010, dialed once, actually booked my first appointment in 2012.
So 4 years from the time you looked at it till you got rolling.
Yep.
So for all of you slow starters out there, there's hope. There's hope. There's hope. John, man, we spent some great time together at the SWAT event with Nate Offert a couple of weeks ago in Dallas, Texas. And we got to do a workshop together on the 7 principles to scale your business. And, I put it out there that I believe the reason why people should scale their business is because if for those of you, you need to go back and listen to John's story, and you'll know why this is important. And I believe the number one reason why you should scale is because you found something special. You found something special. And John, I really liked how you brought it in on the last episode when you said you got to a point where you were no longer worried about sales for yourself. You're at a different place mentally, different place emotionally, different place financially, and then it became about helping others. And I believe we need to scale because we found something special. Number 2, I believe we have a moral obligation to go share this opportunity with as many people as we can, because there are people out there that are in quiet desperation and they're looking for an opportunity. And you'll hear that in John's story on the previous episode. And then lastly, you can secure your financial future and the financial future of your family forever. John, we took some time and did a little workshop with some folks at that event, and we talked about the first principle of scaling your business is working on your business and not just in your business. Can you give some context and perspective to that?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think when you start out this thing, you're everything, you're every piece of it, and certainly you're working in your business when you're the employee, which is the sales side.
Yeah.
I was deep in the business at the beginning, but that's how you start it, is build the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I think from there, now it's a matter of putting pieces together to free up your time. So your time because your time typically makes the most money. I know you call them high paying HPAs, high paying activities.
Yes.
And for me, that was being certainly at the beginning, it was being at the kitchen table, selling insurance.
Yep.
And then it was certainly helping agents get paid, because it was growing our team. So those were the 2 biggest, most valuable pieces for me. So the sooner, and I like everything, I wish I learned it sooner or implemented it sooner. It's not that I didn't know, but I convinced myself that I could do things better, yada, yada. And I found out later how inefficient that was and how much money it cost me delaying bringing on staff. But, then it's putting systems and procedures and policies in place that allow, someone to take some of the, non-high paying activities off my plate, and bringing in staff to execute some of the day-to-day pieces that are just time wasters for me. Certainly a piece of the business and important, but they aren't actually making any money. It's leading up to whatever. So I think surrounding yourself with people that, can help you execute your business plan is super important. That way I could focus on the things that, 1, I enjoyed, and 2, made the most money for the business.
What do you see agents getting caught up in I call it like busy work. They're
Yeah.
telling everybody they're in the insurance business. Yeah, I'm in the
Yeah.
insurance business now,
Yeah.
but they're actually not seeing very many people. What are those things that are the traps that you see agents getting caught in?
Man, all different stages have different traps for sure. But for instance, like even basic level, like ordering leads. I see agents spend hours and hours and hours going through different CRMs or order forms or calling or whatever to just place a lead order. I'm like, one, you could probably put it on some type of recurring automatic thing.
Yeah.
Or two, if you have staff doing it, think about if it takes you, even if it takes you an hour, which is probably on the low end, to order leads, print leads, organize leads, you know what I mean? Flip them upside down, look at all the stuff you're doing with leads. Then you go, all right, how many appointments can you book in an hour if you actually dialed? I mean, if you're terrible, 3 or 4, and you get a sale or two out of it.
Yep.
So $1,000, $2,000, it cost you $1,000 or $2,000 to order your leads and sort them for the week.
And I think the reason why most people are doing that is because they're trying to figure out how to save $5 on a lead. And if they got the best lead, which are the leads that are going to buy? These leads are bad. I need better leads, right? It's all everything. We play these mind games in ourselves.
Yeah. And you can do that at every stage. I've seen people want to run their own leads because they save 50 cents a buck a lead because they can run a Facebook ad themselves. I'm like, but the time it takes you to put into that and the mental energy I've learned is extremely costly. Just because your tank can only hold so much.
That's right.
You fill it up with all this garbage. Now you can't focus on the client or the recruiting or the business side as effectively.
That's right.
So I mean, agents get caught up in all kinds of stuff, calling for pending, calling carrier. Like, why does an agent call a carrier? That makes no sense to me. And I did it, just to be clear. But looking back on it, I'm like, why was I sitting on hold for 37 minutes with a carrier to ask about anything?
Now you're not saying that doesn't need to be done. You're just saying that you're not the one that needs to be doing it.
It definitely needs to be done. But why am I doing it when I can pay someone $15 an hour to do it?
Exactly.
Exactly. Or if you're going to do it at midnight when you can't be making money.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or 5 a.m. Or if you want to be that in control of things, that's fine. If you can't afford staff or if there's things your staff aren't capable of yet, that's all good too. But don't do it during like prime time. When the sun up to sundown, man, you got to be making money.
Prime time, sun up, sundown.
I mean, 7 a.m. till 9 or 10 p.m. you can be doing something to make money.
Yeah, dialing or presenting, right?
Dialing, seeing people, recruiting. Yeah, I mean, heck, if I'm recruiting in Cali, I can recruit till midnight Eastern time.
Correct.
So it's not effective. Again, not that we haven't all done it, but if you look at your business from a different perspective and go, am I actually, is this improving my business, my revenue, or is this just a time spend that literally anyone can do?
And yet you tell everybody around you, you've been working hard. I worked hard all week, John. I busted and I put in so many hours. I saw 8 people.
Yep. And again, if a staff takes X amount of things off your plate, maybe they take 10 hours. I don't know. It takes them 40 to do what you could do in 10. They're not that good. But those 10 hours, I mean, dude, I could book 20 appointments easy and then interview 30 people.
And that's the difference between like an employee mindset and a business owner mindset. Yeah, that's the difference between being self-employed and being a business owner, because when you feel like you're self-employed, you feel like you have to do everything, right? It's all on you. Yeah. You're the maker of the money. When you're an employee, things are done and given to you. You don't invest anything to do those things. Yeah. And making that shift, that's the difference between working on your business and in your business. Jason Richter was on with us a couple weeks ago, and he says he has the 3 Ps. It's prospecting, presenting, and processing. And he said, prospecting you can hire out, because you can hire out someone to run ad campaigns 100%. For you, do the initial screenings. You can hire somebody to be an appointment setter for you, right? And processing on the back end, that should never be done by you, right? Get someone to do that, because that's just admin time. And if your skill set is talking to people, bringing them into the business, or presenting to families and writing policies, that's where you keep your priority, and the other things can be scaled out. John mentioned one of my little tactics that I do, that I did a while back, and that was to sit down and take about a 30-minute segment and then evaluate all of my daily routines and the one-off work activities, and then define what my high-paying activities were, and then go about delegating or eliminating the rest. And when you do that, and these are called the HPAs, you have to determine what your HPAs are. And once you determine that, you'll know the steps you need to take. All right, let's jump into number 2, man. Surround yourself with A players. John, what does this mean for you?
Yeah. Well, early on in my career, it meant I had to get around A players so I could absorb the things that they were doing different than the B, C, D players I was typically around in my life.
Yeah.
So it meant different things at different times. So initially it was that. So I could, when you're around guys and girls that think different, and they look at the world different, and they look, maybe some of the things we just talked about in the number 1, I didn't think this way early on in my career. I've adopted that thought process.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I adopted that thought process because I put myself in the room with A players instead of hanging around, what maybe was more comfortable. Mediocre Correct. Agents was more comfortable to be around, but it wasn't as beneficial. And then if you fast forward, then certainly I want A players on my team to help me grow. I don't want mediocre staff. There's a zillion people out there looking for jobs. So I want to hire someone quality, someone that understands their role in my business and is really vested in it. And I certainly can give them upside as we grow to be a big part of that. And then I'm doing the same thing with agents on the 1099 side, not even just staff. It's like, I want to be around agents that are looking to do big things because it excites me and it fuels me. And I want to add more value to them when they're trying to add more value to the overall and help other people. So that's where I came up with that whole, now you've labeled it WSO, the who stands out thing.
Who stands out? Who stands? I like putting labels and acronyms on it because it helps anchor people to this idea. Yes. So guys, you need to write that down. WSO, who stands out? You got to look for those people who stand out that you're working with, and lean into those relationships. I mean, John, that's one of the things I think that's attracted you and me to each other. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Not in the wrong way, but in a good way. Right?
I took it the right way you meant it.
Okay. I don't want you to get you any ideas here, John. Yeah, no ideas. So, but when you find people that are moving in a direction that's got good energy, they've got a great work ethic, and they help you elevate your game. Like every time I play golf with better players, I play better. When I play golf with my buddies who are no good, I play worse. It's just the way life is. When you get around A players, your game elevates. When you're the A player and you're around B and C players, it's easier for them to bring down an A player than it is for an A player to bring them up. And so if you have staff like that, guys, and you have staff that are a C player and they're bringing down your B and A players, you need to move those out of the business and replace them. Try to get a B or an A player in place. Same thing with agents. So that's a little something for you to remember there. WSO, who stands out? So we got 2 of these now. We've got high-paying activities, HPAs, in number 1. We've got WSOs in number 2. I don't know what this next one's going to be. We talked about, John, and this one is one that you've really leaned on. Do you want to introduce this next one, this third principle?
Yeah. So introduce automation is number 3. And, for me, this has been something I've honestly done this my whole career, even prior to insurance. I'm a big systems guy. I don't like repetitive things that I got to do manually I always went, well, someone must have thought of a way. Like Bill Gates is really smart. Yeah. He must have thought of a way that I can not push this button 19 times in a day.
Correct.
Or send the same email 40 times in a week, or remember something. And I started to really learn things. And I wasn't naturally good at that. I just started researching it. You know, I have some family in the computer world. So I've been in the ballpark of it, but I'm not a computer guy, but I knew of it. So I started researching it, man. And I found ways to make my business run smoother by doing things automated. And it started out simple. Like if you do no automation, I'm not saying you got to do some long drawn out thing. You can get there, or you can steal what we've put together, which I can talk about in a minute. But, at the beginning, man, it literally started with like, if I sent certain videos to new agents because I wanted them to watch them. Yeah. Instead of me going and searching for that video all the time, I put a bunch of them in my notepad on my phone so I could copy and paste them. That saved a lot of time.
That's a
Gmail, if
yeah.
yeah, I mean, if I was sending the same email to get them in class or get them contracting or whatever, well, then I created some templates that I could just plug and push the button and go. It started there, and then fast forward, I fell in love with it. And then I started creating, like, one, I'm an Excel geek, so I can make Excel do magical things. And then two, I really started looking at programs to create automation. So we now have it, and this is a 9-year in process thing that I've got 3 minutes to talk about. So we've taken everything from the job ad all the way to getting someone in the field and paid, and all the stuff that happens in the middle, getting them in class, following up on their license, remembering to call them, sending them training emails, sending them text notifications, letting my staff know where people are at, downline know where people are at, emails, all the stuff that happens with an agent, getting them contracting. We've automated that entire process. And I've given that stuff to Secure Agent to help with that, Landon and those guys, and they're putting something together to put out to the world, because I want to share, man, and have other people, because it's a big pain point, and a lot of people come to us to help with that onboarding and recruiting and automation process. So, if you're okay if I share it, if y'all go to, it's called, the website is getagentautomator.com, getagentautomator.com. If it's easier to remember, you can go to my website, johnwetmore.com, and there's a link to it. So either one, getagentautomator.com. There's a little thing you can get in line. It'll be released shortly. They're building it out, but they're literally taking our exact process, man, packaging it up, and they're going to service it and put it out to the world for us. So.
And I'm gonna pause and do a little ad in here. We're gonna insert a little advertisement or a little incentive or a preview. John and I are going to be in Atlanta on December 8th. Is that the date? December 8th and 9th? Is that the date, John?
So it's Wednesday, Thursday. I'll look as you're talking.
Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning in
8th and 9th.
Atlanta. And we're going to be doing a growth and scale workshop together that you guys can participate in. And we'll put information in the links in the show notes. And we'll also shoot out some social media posts about that as well. And we're going to be doing a growth and scale workshop, and I'm hoping that your package and your program will be available there. And we're going to be going in depth into how to grow and how to scale your business. My former business before I got in this, I feel like I'm a rookie in the insurance business compared to John. But my background has been in the advertising space for many, many years. And for 13 or 14 years, I've had more time in that space than any other. And we scaled our company from literally zero to about 62 million over about a 10-year period. And we did a lot of automation things. We, staffing up, growing, opening new offices, implementing systems to grow and scale the business. John, within his organization as a part of an IMO group, figured out a way to scale and grow his business after a 4-year soft launch, we'll call it. And, so we're going to be bringing that expertise to you guys in Atlanta in December of this year. So if you're listening to this podcast episode in 2022, you missed it, but I'm sure there'll be another opportunity for you to connect with us because this is the December 8th and 9th is 2021. So here in just a couple of months, we're going to be there, and we'll give you some information on that. But you can automate a lot of things: your marketing, your recruiting. There's onboarding and sales automations. And if you use things like Content Studio, in our marketing department, our graphics and marketing people, they use a Content Studio so that they can schedule out social media content, schedule out emails. And they post at different times on different platforms, and that can be prepared in advance. You can use up content. You can use automations like Calendly so that when someone's actually coming through some of your automations and they've taken actions on certain steps, now they can schedule an appointment on your calendar on a gap that you have set aside that you control that's open for you. There's a reason why doctors, when you call them up, only do appointments like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they start at ungodly hours, and there's never any appointments available on Friday. And the reason why doctors don't have appointments on Fridays is because they don't work on Fridays. They control their schedule. They're controlling their schedule. You need to do the same in your business. All right, man, let's jump into number 4 here. For me, this number 4, I think is a big piece in scaling your business, and that's developing effective content and building your sales funnel. Effective content goes from everything from your social posts daily, your Instagram, your Facebook feeds, your email campaigns. What are you putting out there to the world? What are you putting out there to the world? John, and I know that you have help in your social. What do you currently, what support do you currently utilize with your social and your communications that's going out to the world?
Yeah, what I love is I don't have a clue what's going out or when it's going out or anything. They just listen to me talk and then they create everything. It's awesome. I told them what I want to happen, and I just do like this, and like this will be on social eventually, and it won't be because of me. So for me, we do all those automated things. If I wish I could tell you what program they use, but I don't mess with it, so I have no idea. But we're trying to always put together content of not only myself, but we put out content of other agents as well.
Correct.
We're trying to promote others. One, it certainly makes them feel good, but from a business standpoint, if I post something about you, Roger, and tag you, and now your entire network sees what I'm putting out,
and I'm going to share that thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're really intentional about not only promoting, but sharing, promoting us, but promoting others and sharing other individuals that are having success as well. And we gather everyone that ever applies with us in any form. We put them into an email system, and we drip on them for the rest of the time until they unsubscribe, with testimonials, leaderboards, trainings coming up. And we've had people reach out years later, but it happens all the time, weeks and months later.
Yeah.
That timing wasn't right when they first applied, no different than with me. And we just hit them at the right time when they're foul about something that happened at their job, or maybe they got laid off or something happened. And timing's right. And so I look at it like commercials, like Coke doesn't send one commercial and expect you to drink it. Does that make sense? They drip you see Coke commercials all the time. So you're thirsty, you're bound to think about it. So we look at it like we're advertising in a lot of ways to the people that have applied ongoing.
Yeah.
So we constantly send them different commercials on what's possible for them. And we get a ton of, instead of just taking what's the cream on the top, we go down and we continue to work it. So all that stuff, everything we do in that sense is basically automated. Certainly someone's got to create the content, but from there on,
but you have a staff person that's watching you, and then you use, are the people that do your social, are they all staff people, or do you use Upwork or Fiverr, or do you use any other services, or
combination? So combination. Staff does a little bit. She some of the graphics, we have someone that's like a Fiverr. It's not them direct, but same concept. That puts some of the graphics, leaderboards, things like that together. The video content and stuff like that. Where now we had a contract person that was doing it. I have had someone in-house. I don't currently, because I found hiring an expert is better and less stressful for me, because I don't have to give the vision. And now we're working with Secure Agent because they understand the industry. I'm like, can I do me and y'all do what you do, and we make it work.
And that's how you scale, guys. That's how you scale. I will say, John, too, in this one point, and I want to circle back to this, but a lot of people, when they get in this business, because they have the self-employed mentality and they don't have that business owner mentality yet, what they end up doing is they end up focusing on more of their time and energy. And you mentioned it previously, how to aggregate leads for actual clients, right? For actual clients, for customers, for people who are going to write a policy. And I would say to scale your business through distribution in our industry, with life agents, growing distribution by empowering others to serve families, you need to switch your focus, as your primary client is now your agent. It's not the end consumer. And if you switch your focus that your primary client is your agent, that flips a switch in most people's heads. And now they realize, I got to grow this distribution. So I'm not trying to just grow leads. We'll let people who do leads do that. My job is to grow the agent force, right? I see how I threw that in there, John. Is to grow that agent force, is to grow that field force of people who are going to be serving families. That's how you go from writing, 10 or 12 apps in a month to 8,000 apps in a month, right? Is through scaling that. And so when you focus on those types of things, now you can reach those. And so that's why it's empowering to share other people's stories, agents that are succeeding, because that attracts other agents, right? And so that's where we're going there. And so you need to have pieces of content for each part of your funnel. There's generally 3 areas. There's the consideration phase, when people are looking for a new opportunity. There's the awareness phase, when they become aware of you, Then there's the consideration phase that they're going through, and you need to have things that move them along and nurture them there. And then the decision phase, how do you bring them in to your funnel and then get them into that automation where they're now starting to move through the system to where they go and do their pre-licensing. So there's different parts to all that. We're going to be covering that in that workshop, by the way. Number 5, guys, you got to establish key relationships and partnerships. I would say that this one, expanding your network is your biggest capital. The concept that I want you guys to think of here and remember from this segment, from this point, is get in the room. Get in the room. When you get in the room with other people who are big thinkers, you start to think differently. And I would say to scale your business, John, it's not who you know. It's not what you know. It's actually who you know. Because you can know a lot of technical stuff, but if you keep that to yourself, you're never really going to get that big. It's when you start getting around other people and you say, hey, I found an outlet here. Landon and Cody are good at this. Landon's good at this with his marketing team. I'm going to give that to them. I'm going to give this to my staff here. I'm going to align with a strategic partnership over here, and that gives me opportunity to expand this side of my business. It really helps you leverage other people's talents and skills and grow. Any comments on that for you in leveraging key relationships and partnerships?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely, so I've been really, in some ways, really good at that. In some ways, really bad at that along the way. I was great at it inside FFL. I paid attention to that. I was super intentional, and I definitely got in the room because I would travel when I was part-time even.
Yeah.
To get around folks that were doing big things and making the money I wanted to make, so I could start to build relationships with them.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I would look for ways to add value, even if that meant just organizing the chairs in the room or helping people get from chatting in the back of the room to getting in the room so we could start on time. I would do whatever it took to add value. I've even at the beginning, this is a funny story we probably don't have time for, but I used to, when we used to travel, I like to iron everything. Like I iron sweatpants, jeans, t-shirts. I've learned that's super weird. I thought it was normal. So when I used to travel to these training events and I'd get around like Mike Killamet and Sean Mike, these guys.
You'd offer to iron their jeans?
I used to iron all their stuff. And that's how I would get in there. I would get in meetings that I wouldn't otherwise be in because I'd go to like the hotel room where they were having a meeting and I'd be ironing literally. Like in 2013, I used to iron their stuff. It's pretty funny.
Are you fishing for people to come iron our clothes in Atlanta when we're there? We just set all of our clothes and people come iron it. Is that what you're doing?
I tell my crew here, I'm like, that doesn't mean you need to go iron their stuff now. Like they have people to like, we're not worried about ironing anymore, but maybe to the people, like I don't need my stuff ironed now.
But it was the concept. What can I do to bring value? I like that. The question that I tell people that I always ask is, how can I help? How can I help? I mean, it's a four word sentence that changes everything in a relationship. Because when you go into a relationship saying, how can I help? And these people have value and, they can bring value to you. That's a great leading question. Instead of what can I get, it's how can I help?
Yeah. And there was stuff like that. I used to, when I first met Killamet, I learned he didn't do numbers and tracking in Excel. So I used to track all his team's numbers.
Yeah.
Not even mine. I would do his. And with time, I've learned if you give value to people with time, they'll definitely give value back to you. And now I'm starting to do it outside in the industry as a whole. It's like, all right, how can I add? Because I did some pretty decent things inside the company of FFL. And now I'm like, I want to make an impact on the industry.
Yes.
So that's why you started seeing me. I'm in every room. I'm all over the country now, doing all kinds of different insurance events and doing what I can to add value to people. And, even this.
Yes.
On your podcast, going to add value to you. And certainly it will work out for me eventually.
Yes.
In some way, form, or fashion, we'll continue to do more things together.
Absolutely.
I'm just intentional about it. And I enjoy doing it. I love being able to contribute.
Well, that leads right into number 6. We got 7 of these, and we're at number 6. So we're winding down here. Number 6, establish a public profile and put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I would say this is important because we're not in a business-to-business world anymore, or even in a, you hear about this B2B or B2C, business-to-business or business-to-client, because that's the way it used to be. My advertising business was business-to-business. We were selling our products and services that we did as a media company to another business, and we were helping profile their business. It really wasn't as much, and that was 10, 15 years ago. Now we're in a people-to-people world, right? We're in a people-to-people world, and because of social media and because of the access and the proliferation of the internet and the socials, that people can find out who you are, and they can align with character. They can align with work ethic. They can align with success. They can align with drive. They can align with, like, these are common denominators that people are looking to identify with, and they can hone in on you before you ever land. I mean, I put on our social this morning that our podcast is getting ready to pass 20,000 downloads this month. And it's amazing how many people reach out on this podcast that you're listening to right now, everybody. And you guys comment about things that we said maybe a month ago or 2 months ago, and you said how impactful that was and how you love listening. And you'll tell me stories about my family even and how it resonates with you. And it's amazing because I realize that we are in a people-to-people business. John, you've been putting yourself out there. Why is this important for somebody who's scaling their business?
Yeah, I mean, and to be clear, that's not my natural interest, really. You know what I mean? I can be reserved in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I've learned that, I've learned how much it impacts people. And when people know you and see what you're doing, I don't really know how to explain the full dynamic behind the whole, personal brand, if you will. But again, putting yourself out there to the world, I think, one, it shows initiative. People are attracted to that, and people want to achieve big things. And I like latching on to people who put themselves out there. And I follow all that kind of stuff, and it excites me, and it gives me hope and potential and vision. And so now I've learned, there's people watching me that I had no clue were watching me. Speaking at different events over the years. I had someone come up at SWAT and thank me for an event I spoke at in 2018 and how it impacted him. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know you were there.
Yeah.
Or if I don't, I do a lot of workout stuff now because I was terribly out of shape a couple of years ago, and it was getting out of control. So I started doing 75 hard and all kinds of different crazy things. And I started putting it out there.
I've been seeing you in the gym.
If I don't put one now, people check on me.
Yeah.
Where's your stuff? I need to see your stuff. You haven't been in the gym? I'm like, no, I've been in the gym. I just forgot to post, but I've learned that motivates people, and it helps them do bigger things. So now in this day, people want to know who they're doing business with. And so putting yourself out there, I think, is really important to attract others into your life. And, and honestly, it helps hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? In a lot of ways, it certainly does.
And I would say when we're putting ourselves out there, you again lead with those questions. How can I help? How can I bring value? And if you're leading with that in your engagement with others, whether it's on social or at events, networking events, like I do stuff through my church and through our neighborhood and just through our friend group. And I'm looking to bring energy. I'm looking to bring value. I'm looking to say, how can I help? It's not just me thinking about me. And when you do that, it's an attractive thing. It's an attractive thing. I'm attracted to people who do it. Therefore, I do it. Yeah. I would say if you had to ask yourself, who is more iconic? Is it the Apple brand or Steve Jobs? Right? You would think they're probably both pretty iconic.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. So the brand and Steve Jobs are almost commensurate, and one without the other doesn't really work. It's hard to be a secret, private, super hidden entrepreneur anymore that's massively successful without people knowing about it. And then the last one, man, think big and act boldly. Stephen Covey said, you got to begin with the end in mind, and this idea of communicating this to your team, John, I know that this has been a big part of your success in your organization. How has your vision of what's possible, and when you flip that switch and changed the gear to making sure that others understood the opportunity they have, how did this communication to your team impact it? Because it's a repetition of that communication, right? Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, I think that, I've always, one thing I've had always is, and not, I've learned not everybody has this, which I when I first discovered, I thought was weird, but now it makes a lot of sense. I've always believed I can do what someone else can do.
Yeah.
I just need them to teach me, and I used to always, I've had this thing since I was 12, where I've said one day I'm going to own a hotel. And I don't know why, I don't know what attracted me to it, but at the time, this is in, the 80s. And I used to go, well, if that Donald Trump guy can own hotels, so can I, and I've always had a little bit of that. I think getting myself around A players has definitely made it feel more possible because I could almost touch it. and then when people started teaching me the things that they were doing to achieve, certainly then I could just act boldly and put things in place that they were telling me to do, and executing those things.
Yeah.
And then, I definitely think sharing it with your team is insanely important, because not everybody has, like the example I said, not everybody has that in them that they truly deep down believe they can accomplish too.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So if I talk about it and normalize it, I like to normalize things, continue to talk about them on a regular basis. So it becomes like, oh, we can do that.
Yeah.
And if we're promoting others successfully and seeing, someone that maybe wasn't successful and promoting their success, even if it's one notch up, that can give vision and possibilities to other people. So I love being open about it. I shared my goals. I share my goals all the time. I shared them with you at the event this week. Yeah. And that does wonders to people. When I share my goals from 2013, 2014, most people are like blown away that they were so small relative to what they see today.
Correct.
But that's where I was at the time. And now, like Cody and I, you might've been part of the conversation. Cody and I were talking the other day about like the jet we're going to fly around the country and help people on. Like, why not? Because we can be more effective. We can get to more people quicker.
It's amazing when you start saying the things that you see. My partner Chris says, "Say what you see, so you can see what you say."
I love that.
And I was like, "That's kind of cool." I got to remember
steal that one.
Yeah. Say what you see, so that you can see what it is that you're saying. The idea of communicating this over and over again to people, others, and continually putting that vision out to them allows you to stretch their thinking. And that's with the people who stand out, and leaning into those relationships and continue to stretch their thinking. Fear is always going to tell you to play it safe, hang on to what you got, but courage is going to respond and say, let go. Life happens outside of your comfort zone. Scaling isn't a smooth process, but when it's done right, it's incredibly rewarding. So, John, man, I know you got to bounce. I know you got to get on a plane somewhere today and go somewhere else and fly around the country and help some other people and lean into some other relationships. Atlanta, December 8th and 9th, 2021. We're going to be in Atlanta for a 2-day growth and scale workshop. We'd love to have you there. There's going to be a link. I'm going to give you guys a number to text right now, and hopefully this all works so that when you text it, it's 845-420-3337. That's 845-420-3337. This should also be in the show notes. If you text that number, we're going to give you the white paper download of of our talking points that John and I worked on together today. And this comes from a culmination of experience. We've both been involved in businesses that have done well over $50 million in annual production, and we'd like to give you some of that information, some of that knowledge, and we're going to be dropping that on you in Atlanta. Who wants to join us? John, are they going to be picking up some nuggets in that room in those 2 days?
We're going to give details, man. I got my staff coming to teach. So if they can literally, the pieces the staff does that I don't do, she's going to come in. Amanda will be there to teach, and we're going to run through this thing. We got, instead of 40 minutes, I haven't done the math, but it's like 10 hours of time. I mean, it's a decent amount of time with us, going through every detail, Q&A, asking for clarity. So we're gonna change some businesses, which I love. And it's of players.
3 or 4, 5
There's not like mediocre people coming. There's some players coming. So y'all will be around other people that are looking to do big things as well.
100%. There's going to be some ballers in the room, and that expands your network instantly when you get around those people as well. John, man, thank you for giving us some knowledge today. I look forward to continue working with you. And again, if you haven't listened to the previous episode, you got to go back, because everything that we talked about today is a different conversation than the one we had on the last episode, because that's the life transformation one that's available in this business. Guys, you have something special. We have a moral obligation to share it, and you can change your life and the lives of people around you. You need to say to yourself, my business is important. I will learn how to scale it. It will change people's lives. Thank you guys for listening today. Thanks, John, for being on the podcast, and we'll be back with another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. Have a great day, John.
Hey, bud. Appreciate you.
All right. Take care. Hey, thanks for watching this video. For the full episode, click the link in the description, or you can search Life Insurance Academy wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can subscribe now, and for the next video, click one of these. It's your choice. You get to choose. There's a choice. We'll see you in the next video.